Hi guys, and welcome to another Zoom chat with SA Rugby Magazine. I'm very happy today to have with me Sharks fly half Curwin Bosch. Curwin, how are you doing and how have you been managing in lockdown?
Yes, hi Craig. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I've been doing okay. Obviously, very different and challenging time for all of us, being taken out of our comfort zones and something we're not particularly used to. But yeah, we're taking it day by day, finding ways to be creative, and yeah, just trying to make the best of a rather challenging situation.
Sure. And we were chatting before we started recording just about kind of where you're based. So, I mean, you mentioned you're in an apartment in Durban. Just how has that been for you in terms of restricting your movement when it comes to keeping fit and active? What are the things you've been able to do in your apartment just to keep the body at least relatively fit? I'm sure it's not the same as being out in the field training every day, but how have you managed to keep your fitness levels at least somewhere to a point where you'd like them to be?
Yeah, look, Craig, it's obviously very difficult. We obviously can't do anything running. I'm in an apartment, but I've got a watt bike, so I try and get on that at least every single day, and then just trying to keep busy by doing body weight exercises. Trying to do as much as possible about that, and then I've got stairs here leading to my apartment, so try and do a little bit of running there as well. Obviously, also trying to not disturb the neighbors and that sort of thing, but yeah, like I mentioned, it's very challenging, but it also gives us a chance to be creative with our exercise.
Sure. And you were also mentioning to me that you've been studying a bit. Maybe just chat a little bit about what you're studying. How you've made time for that, and perhaps is that with maybe even looking further ahead to after rugby. Is that also started to preparing yourself for giving yourself some other things to go into maybe after rugby?
Yes, definitely something to look that I'm trying to look for after rugby. I think it's also really important just to do something other than play rugby, to keep the mind occupied when you're not playing rugby. Otherwise, you can come a little bit, what do you call it? Yeah, you can become comfortable with just doing rugby every single day, and it can become quite boring at times if that's all you're thinking about. So just trying to keep myself occupied and just adding something to me as a person. And then I think also this lockdown presented that opportunity just to further develop myself in other areas of my life, and I've been enjoying it.
Cool. Yeah. And Kurt, if we can just rewind to maybe the beginning of the year, obviously when things were a lot more settled and normal, if we can say that. Just chat about your lead up to 2020. I mean, at the Sharks, it was obviously quite a new start in many ways with a different group of players at the Sharks and a new coaching group. Was it a case of really kind of pressing the reset button for you and the Sharks as a whole? Kind of making a fresh start? Is that the kind of atmosphere that was kind of prevalent at the Sharks at the beginning of the campaign?
Yeah, Craig, definitely. I think it was a matter of resetting everything with a lot of familiar faces around us. I think that made the reset process for us a lot more comfortable and better in that sense. Sean's obviously been around at the Sharks. He's coached us before as an assistant with Gary Gold. Um, so yeah, I think it was a matter of resetting the Sharks as a whole as well. I think the way Sean approaches things and the way he's given us freedom within the squad has been really commendable. And then obviously a guy like Dave, I think a lot of credit is to go to Dave with. He obviously runs our attack, and the way he's instilled confidence in us within the structures has really been good. And then yeah, I think probably the biggest thing is that we a young group. There's not a lot of older guys, um, which I think makes it a lot better for the coaches. The players are very coachable, um, and yeah, I think that's just the biggest thing. There's a lot of energy in the young group, and it's not like we haven't been together. It's a group that's been together. Um, so yeah, but I think most importantly, credit needs to go to our coaches, guys like Dave and Sean. They've really given us the freedom to express ourselves within the structures.
Sure. And Curwin, for yourself, personally, I know it's something that you probably get asked ad nauseum, but right from the outset, Sean mentioned that he viewed you solely as a fly half, and he was very clear about that. And he said, unequivocally, he wanted to play you at fly half and only fly half. I mean, just for you personally, was that an important aspect of life under Sean in terms of knowing that that was your position and having that clarity? Did it help your confidence?
Yes, definitely, Craig. I think that played a major role in me regaining my confidence. Um, in a position like 10, I believe that you need to play at 10 consistently in order to become better at it. Um, I was having a conversation with Eddie Jones when we were at the Barbarians, and it's interesting for him that said that Dan Carter only became a really good 10 at the age of about 28. Um, so that really sunk in with me, and it proves to be that in a specialist position like a 10, you need to play there in order to become a world class 10, and it's going to take many years. It's going to take a lot of mistakes. It's going to take a lot of patience. Um, but yeah, it's the confidence that he's instilled in me has proven to be good for my career again. I think I've certainly started to regain that and started to become more of myself again. It's just a pity of obviously the situation that we're in now, but yeah, just I'm just thankful to have coaches like Sean and Dave and those guys around me.
Yeah. And Curwin, just chatting about the Barbarians, I mean, that experience for you, I mean, it looked like it was a typical Barbarians spirit and kind of fun atmosphere. But for you as well, like you say, having a chance to, chat to Eddie Jones, and I'm sure quite a lot of other players who were involved in that setup and coaches, I mean, how do you reflect on that? Was it a kind of an enjoyable stepping stone before kind of getting into preseason and then Super Rugby?
Yes, Craig, I think definitely the whole atmosphere at the Barbarians is just to go out and play. They want to sort of bring back the how rugby was played back in the old days, where you just went out and you just played with mates around you, and you basically just threw the ball around and see what could come from it. And I think in the game that we play today, it's very professional, very strategic, structured in the way we go about things. I think every now and then it's just really important just to go out there and just play with instinct. That's all you have. Um, and I think that's also what makes our coaching structure here at the Sharks so special, is that um, we are back to make decisions on the field. We've got a framework, we've got a structure, but at the end of the day, we out there on the field, we feeling where the pressure is coming from, where we can apply pressure. So it's really up to us to make those decisions. And yeah, I think the Barbarians experience was great. It was really special for me. It was a great bunch of guys that we played with, and yeah, we just really enjoyed each other's company and just being able to do whatever we want on the field.
Cool. Yeah, and Curwin, I mean, just chatting about going back to the Sharks and the 7 rounds of Super Rugby action that you guys were able to enjoy. I mean, it seemed like a big part of your strategy. I mean, beyond, as you say, a lot of freedom to play with the ball, but you also seem to have a very carefully thought out kicking strategy. I mean, you a lot of tries seem to come from contestable kicks, and you use the cross kick as an attacking weapon quite a lot, it seemed. I mean, how much did that kicking strategy come into the Sharks' new brand of play?
Yeah, I think it's a big part of us. I think our whole discussion before the tournament was that we needed to play to our strengths. Um, Obviously, with myself and Louis, Fassi and Andre, we felt that we could have a very strong kicking game. Um, and then I think credit must go to our wingers. Spoo, Mapimpi, Madosh, those guys. A kick is only as good as its chase, and they've been amazing with getting those balls back for us and creating those opportunities. So I think, yeah, all in all, it's just us understanding where our strengths are, and using that against other teams, which might be a weakness to them. And obviously, with us changing our game plan and things, I don't think many teams expected that from us this year. So yeah, I think it is all in all. It's just a great team effort. Decisions, we back each other decisions on the field, whether it's the wrong decision or the right decision. We just back it 100% and just continue playing next job mentality.
Yeah. And Curwin, just chatting about the guys in that back line. I mean, obviously, Lucanio Am, Mapimpi, Spoon Corsi, guys that won the World Cup and then, came back to the Sharks. I mean, did they add a lot of kind of extra confidence having come from that World Cup winning squad? I mean, how did they add to the whole atmosphere, particularly with regards to the back line, just obviously having that massive confidence boost that they went through with the Bok team?
Yeah, I think it's amazing, Greg. I think a lot of the guys, including myself, look up to players like that. Obviously, they've shown us, and we've seen what it takes to perform at the top level constantly. I mean, take a guy like Mapimpi. Mapimpi has been performing for years in a row now. From the time he was at the Kings, he's been scoring tries, and he's still scoring tries. So it's just great to have those guys in and around you, just to feed off them every now and then. Their thinking process, what it was like for them at the World Cup, and just those sort of things. Taking what works for them and maybe applying it to your routine and your daily way of doing things, and seeing what works for you. It's really great to have people like that, and yeah, we're fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with them.
Yeah. And Kurt, just a couple final questions. I mean, obviously it was a fantastic start to the season for the Sharks, and you guys did a lot of the hard yards. You even had your tour that you went on, performed well, came back, and were actually top of the log before the competition was suspended. In that context, how has it been, and maybe a bit frustrating that you're now stuck in this enforced break, and there's no real clarity just at this moment about when competition may or may not resume. But um, how do you just view things going forward now? I mean, how desperate are you, and I'm sure your teammates, just to get back into some kind of action in any shape or form?
Yeah, it's very frustrating. Obviously, we started to gain some nice momentum, and we were on a nice streak, and we started to perfect our game model, and started to obviously straighten out the finer detail in that. Um, and I think the most important thing for us was that we really started to enjoy our rugby again. We were keen to get to training. We didn't want to leave training. We were excited each and every single day. There was good energy. It was an environment that you wanted to be. So obviously, when this happened, it was a shock to us. I think at the time when it happened after that Stormers game, we were all relieved because we needed a break. Um, but we obviously didn't know it was going to last as long, and that it was going to be, the future was going to be unpredictable. So I think it's very frustrating for all of us. But at the moment our health is important, and um, I think that's probably the most important thing. But we're all looking forward to getting back onto the field whenever that is. Um, and yeah, just hopefully we can continue what we started.
Sure. And Cohen, just a final one. I mean, obviously now everything's going to be different when we come out of lockdown, hopefully sooner rather than later. But in terms of your own personal goals, I mean, have you had to realign what you're hoping to achieve this year, or perhaps just touch on what were some of the goals and ambitions you had set out for this year, and if at all, whether those have been adjusted because of the unexpected lockdown?
Yeah, look, Greg, I approached this year a little bit differently. Previously I put a lot of pressure on myself to, play for the Springboks, get into the Springbok setup, and I'd have sleepless nights if I wasn't in there, and it was really affecting me and my daily life and everything around me. Um, so this year I just decided to approach it a little bit differently and just say, you know what, um, I'm just gonna go out and do my best for the Sharks. Play the best I can, make everyone else around me look as good as I can, make them look, and take it from there. It's obviously still a dream. It's still part of my plans to play for the Springboks, but first and foremost for me is to do well for the Sharks and perform for the Sharks, because inevitably when a team does well, more of those players actually get chosen for the Springboks. So my approach was a little bit different, and it's taken a lot of pressure off myself, um, and it's worked for me. And I think um, if you ask me if I've achieved those goals, I think yes, I have. I think I've played really well for the Sharks when we did, and I've learned a lot, and I've really started to enjoy it. That's the most important thing. When you enjoy your rugby, you play better rugby. So I think that approach is definitely working for me, and I'm definitely gonna keep doing that.
Great. Cool. Well, Kevin, thanks so much for making time. And yeah, we really hope you keep well during this time of lockdown and that we get out of it sooner rather than later.